Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I am in trouble. In today's video, I'm going to be running the most cursed possible Ultra League teams that my viewers could come up with, and against all odds, trying to attempt to get some wins. Now, I put out a post on Twitter showing every Pokemon that I had built for the Ultra League, and telling people to build their worst teams, and my goodness did they come through. We have some truly atrocious teams ahead of us, and it's going to be a miracle if I'm able to get any wins. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and well, let's get into it. And we're off to a miserable start in the first match, leading Ceruledge into a Golurk. I save switch Armored Mewtwo. Armored Mewtwo, for some reason, is on Rock Slide from the last time I used it, but Rock Slide, of course, is absolutely terrible now. They're going to land a Hydro Cannon. I'm looking to farm up with the Mewtwo. Unfortunately, the opponent is going to win the CMP tie there, and I will commit the shield because I want to try and get shields down. The Golurk is a huge problem for the Ceruledge, but if I'm able to grab both shields from my opponent, get an energy lead on the Ceruledge, suddenly that becomes a lot less problematic. I fire off the Side Strike. Opponent is actually going to double shield, and in comes Deoxys. Deoxys has suffered a major fall from grace since the counter nerf, and that's probably why the opponent put it on my team. In comes Clefable, and I'm just going to go for the Psycho Boost. Psycho Boost is, of course, going to lower my attack by 2 stages, but my switch clock will be up in the near future. They're going to fire off energy. I think my switch clock should be up after this move. Not quite. I'm going to need to go for the Psycho Boost because I see an opportunity, a way to win this game. I'm going to need a truly massive energy lead on the Ceruledge. Opponent is going to fire off energy, and I'm letting this through. Anything they throw will be resisted. It's going to be the Swift. In comes the Golurk, but I got the shields down from earlier. I get to fire off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to one-shot the Golurk. Opponent still has that low health Clefable, and they do have Feraligatr. In comes the Feraligatr. Feraligatr farming up. They're going to fire off energy. The question is, can I incinerate down with the Ceruledge? They say it's going to be close. Ceruledge gets the farm down, and despite leading a Ceruledge double Psychic line into a Golurk, we're able to flip the script, KO Clefable, and take the win. Hopping into the next match, leading Drifblim into Shadow Dragonite. Not a bad lead for Drifblim, but considering I have Tapu Koko and Regieleki in the back, this is not ideal. I end up throwing 4 Astonishes, waiting a turn, and catching onto the Tapu Koko. Opponent now brings in Gastrodon, and this is extremely painful. I fire off the Nature's Madness. It is on alignment, but I just want to guarantee that I can get this damage, because now they're going to be debuffed. I've gotten a little bit of damage, and I can look to Hex all the way down with Drifblim. So my opponent is going to be firing off double resistant moves. They actually get a defense drop from the Earth Power, but realistically, even debuffed, they're not going to be able to inflict a lot of damage here. So I will get a full farm down, exiting with 100 energy. Let's see that Dragonite. They don't send it in. Instead, they bring in Registeel. Registeel going to get hit with a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball shielded up. I switch to Regieleki. Opponent is going to bring in the Dragonite. I'm farming up with Regieleki, going for the Zap Cannon. And I didn't see a Dragon Breath go through. Please tell me it's a CMP tie. It is! And now I can win this game. Because they CMP tied, they are going to go for a Dragon Claw undercharge, go for a farm down, but I have the Icy Wind loaded. And now this game is just a win. I have 2 shields. I have Drifblim. The only way I see myself losing is a Zap Cannon debuff on the very first one. It's a 30% chance. I'm going to shield here, cross my fingers, Zap Cannon to the Drifblim, gets the debuff, and I think with that, this game might actually flip to a loss because now I go for the Shadow Ball. It doesn't do nearly the damage it typically would. They are below half HP. They're firing off another move. I'm forced to shield, but I think that Zap Cannon may have sealed my fate here. Registeel is going to get hit with another Shadow Ball, and this is a CMP tie, which means if this move does not KO, which it does not, we're going to lose by the narrowest of margins. So a heartbreaking loss in game number 2. We were in a position for success, but unfortunately, we were not able to overcome the Zap Cannon debuff. Moving to the next match, leading Chill Drive Genesect into Steelix, and in the back, we have Blastoise and Enamorus. I'm going to be firing off the Ice Technoblast at the Steelix. The Steelix did end up lagging for a little bit, so as you can see here, I do end up waiting to let them come back into the game, and then hopefully catch up a little bit on energy, and then it's my turn to lag. So, okay, alright, so we're having one of those days today. That is absolutely terrific. What is genuinely terrific, with zero sarcasm, is the fact that they've thrown 2 Breaking Swipes and gotten no debuffs. So I'm able to land the Techno Blast, get the Fury Cutter down. In comes Golisopod, and this is honestly not great. I'm going to bank double Magnet Bomb, bring in Blastoise. They bank a ton of energy and bring in a Shadow Zapdos, and this is actually not bad. Blastoise is going to build up to the Ice Beam, baiting with the Hydro Cannon. I mean, Shadow Zapdos is so glass that even a Hydro Cannon will hurt. They have farmed up a ton, and I have a tough call to make. I decided to respect the Thunderbolt just to get hit with the Drill Peck bait. Now, I'm just going straight for the Hydro Cannon. This will do a lot of damage. I have a Technoblast Ice loaded, so if I need that later in the game, I'll have the ability to use it. Thunderbolt picks up the KO. In comes an Amorous. They're going to send in Golisopod. If I can make this fly, I'm in a good spot. Liquidation is going to do way too much damage, and Amorous wins the cap tie over Golisopod. Let's go. Now I get to pick up the knockout with the fly. They can bring back in the Zapdos. Zapdos gets the farm down, but I banked that Ice-type Technoblast for later, so Genesect gets to absolutely destroy Zapdos with a Technoblast, and we're able to take the win. We move to the next match, now running an ABA, oh no, we're running an ABA grass strategy with a fire type in the back, and we lead into Tentacruel. Tentacruel is farming up. The Alolan Exeggutor is able to win the CMP tie. Now, Alolan Exeggutor does want to run Draco Meteor, but the one that I have is running Dragon Pulse. So here, I do win the CMP tie. They go for a Blizzard, which is massive overkill. And now, what do I bring in here? I don't really have any good options. I think I have to bring in the Volcarona, but Volcarona only has very expensive charge moves, and it's not like I can fire spin them down here. I'm going to try and overfarm as much as I possibly can, going for 4 in the move. Go for the Overheat, and Overheat, of course, will be able to secure the knockout. So I fire off the Overheat. Down goes the Tentacruel. In comes Malamar. I bring in Leavanny, and wait. In the back, they have Moltres. This game might actually be winnable. If I can soft lose this, farm down with the Volcarona and Bug Buzz, and they get a boost. No, you've got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness, we had a game lost due to the opponent getting a 30% zap debuff and now a 10% chance ancient power boost. And that's just gonna mean that they can actually farm me all the way down due to their boosted attack. And that game is unfortunately going to be a loss. We're now leading an XL Noctowl, doesn't even get to 2300 combat power with Trevenant and Lantern in the back. This commenter apparently missed the old Great League meta from a couple years back so much that they're making me run it in the Ultra League. I'm farming up quite a bit. I'm going to fire off the Sky Attack into the Licky Licky. I realize my phone's not on Do Not Disturb, so I quickly turn on the Do Not Disturb, and we're back in action. I send in the Trevenant. I was hoping to catch a Body Slam. The Body Slam catch attempt is going to be unsuccessful. Opponent goes for an Earthquake, so they're actually walled here. So this is a normal type that actually cannot really do any damage to my Ghost. I get to fire off this Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb is going to put them pretty close to another Seed Bomb range, but I think they might barely be able to hang on. They go for the Earthquake. I'm looking to farm up. Opponent is going to make the Body Slam. This is double resisted. I'm going to let this through. The Body Slam barely does not KO, and I'm just going to under-tap the Seed Bomb to get this damage. Seed Bomb into the Licky Licky, unfortunately, is not going to be enough to KO. This will give me 2 wing attacks, though. And now, opponent is going to bring back in the Malamar. Malamar will be met with the Sky Attack. Sky Attack not going to do a ton of damage here. I'm trying to make it to another Sky Attack, but Malamar says no, as they'll fire off their energy. And it all comes down to this. I need Lantern. The XL Lantern that doesn't even get to 2400 combat power to sweep this endgame for me. I really need it to be like a Talonflame. They're going to go for a foul play. I'm farming up, and I'm firing off the Surf. If my opponent shields, maybe it means they're weak in the back, and they shield. That's a pretty low health Malamar. I don't think they would shield that unless they have to. So I'm going to commit the shield. They go for the superpower. In the back is Feraligatr, and oh my goodness, this game might be a win. I think I have to bait to win though. So I build up, go for the Surf, get the shield, and now it's going to be a race. Opponent fires off their energy here. This is going to do quite a lot of damage. Hydro Cannon connects, but I get the Thunderbolt. They don't have the back-to-back moves loaded. Thunderbolt into Feraligatr, picks up the KO. In comes the Malamar. We get the farm down, and the old Open Great League meta team is able to take the win. Tough lead in the next match, leading the astonished Goldengo into an Alolan Sandslash. I save switch into the Galarian Zapdos. Opponent is going to respond with Tentacruel. Tentacruel is going to fire off the Scald. I'm happy to bait out the Tentacruel because that way the Apex Ho-Oh in the back will not have to see it. But Apex Ho-Oh really wants a shield advantage, and I can't get a shield advantage here. Instead, my opponent is going to land the Scald, get a farm down, and without a shield advantage, I could be in trouble. Tentacruel, Scald does so much damage to Goldengo, and I do get a nice farm down. In comes the Sandslash, in comes Apex Ho-Oh, and it's Feraligatr. Oh no. And I think this is probably just over, but maybe there's a chance. If I can force all the shields from my opponent and get a combo play with the Goldengo, then maybe there's a chance. Opponent is going to go for the Hydro Cannon. I'm going to be firing off the Brave Bird, and I think, wait, this might actually be doable. So I Brave Bird here, opponent throws one in the move, and this ensures that I can't get a one-turn switch in. So they go for the Hydro Cannon, I go for the switch out, but they anticipate it and they bring in the Sandslash. That was actually a really interesting play by my opponent there, because if fast move damage hasn't registered on your end, then you can't get a zero-turn swap. So by throwing one in the move, they prevented the zero-turn swap. I get the Focus Blast landed, but I'm getting cooked by a Feraligatr, so I will concede the match. The theme of the next battle is bugs, and we've got 3 of them as we lead into Licky Licky. I'm going to bring in Scizor. Opponent banks a ton of energy, sending in the Giratina, and these frame drops, man, have been so bad this weekend. I'm able to land the Night Slash. That does quite a lot of damage, and since they tried to catch a Trailblaze and failed, I'm already at Night Slash number 2. So Night Slash lands. I get a boost. Okay, Shadow Scizor. Shadow Scizor now going to be shielding up everything from this Giratina and getting a very nice farm down. Opponent is going to be firing off energy from the Licky Licky. I'm going to commit the shield as they go for the Earthquake, and that is a huge shield. Now I can just start unleashing these boosted Night Slashes at the opponent. Opponent will commit the shield. Scizor boosts again. I'm just throwing right away. I just want whatever damage I can get. We now have a 4 times boosted Shadow Scizor. Scizor putting the entire team on his back here. Flipping switch, getting both shields from the opponent, and KOing most of Licky Licky. In comes Heracross in the back. Now we see why they weren't able to answer the Scizor with anything. They have a Charm Primarina. I'm going to fire off the Aerial Ace. That's not going to do a ton of damage, but Charm Primarina, it's very slow to get to these charge moves. I'm going to be able to fire off an Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is going to land. Primarina firing off the last second energy here. Primarina, it's just going to be the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will not KO. I get the farm down. In comes Licky Licky, but Licky Licky is going to get quickly taken care of by the Heracross as Heracross makes the Rock Blast, and the triple bug team led into a rollout user, and thanks to 2 boosts was able to win. We move to the next match, and Yanmega, a terrible lead as it leads into Tapu Fini. Now, Yanmega was probably the most requested Pokemon across these teams. I played a full day of these extremely cursed viewer-requested teams, and I believe this is the 5th Yanmega team. The first 4 games were not even close. I was just obliterated. So that footage ended up being cut for time's sake, because obviously 25 battles doesn't really fit into a video. But this is Yanmega's final chance. We have an ability to flip switch and put Tapu Fini on Ferrothorn, which should hopefully put us in a pretty decent position. So I am going to be firing off the Aqua Tail. That's going to pick up the knockout, but in comes Shadow Galvantula, and I'm completely core broken. I'm going to bring in Yanmega. I was on Bug Bite because I was going to try and mess up some Malamar, but unfortunately I did not catch the Malamar teams, and this is quite bad. Opponent, they throw only after 2. This means that they're actually running Cross Poison on Galvantula. I want to preserve an ability to reset debuffs, so I actually end up saving that energy and bringing in the Ferrothorn, but this is honestly not amazing because I wasn't able to force the shield, and I'm going to be forced to attempt a combo play if I want to try and get rid of this Galvantula. Galvantula, the Shadow hits so hard, Lunge does massive damage. I'm going to get to fire off the Power Whip here. Power Whip into Galvantula is going to be shielded, and my Switch Clock is not available. My opponent throws on alignment here. This means that I'm not going to be able to get a zero-turn sneak, which is unfortunate. I try for it anyway, and my opponent just reads me like a book. Switching out into the Tapu Fini. I don't get to land that energy, and unfortunately, Yanmega is going 0 for 5 here, as Yanmega just, oh my goodness. Honestly, even if it ran into a Malamar and I was using Bug Bite, I don't know if it'd be able to win because Yanmega is just so bad. Hopping into the final match, leading Granbull into Primeape, but it's a Snarl Granbull. So I get to use a pretty decent Pokemon in Granbull, but I don't get to use its good charge move. So things really not off to a great start in this one. They're going to fire off another Rage Fist. Oh my goodness, Primeape is just so fast. Opponent switches into Drifblim, maybe trying to catch an under-tapped close combat, but now I get to fire off these Crunches. Crunch does pretty significant damage. I make another Crunch, and they're going to have to shield here. I'm going to stay in. I think that I can make it to another Crunch. I get the debuff, but the Astonish KOs. This is not an XL Granbull. Unfortunately, it was from back before XL candies were a thing, so it's not very bulky. However, I have Incineroar, and Incineroar is a complete wall to energy from Drifblim. Drifblim lands the Shadow Ball. They're now going to go for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind means that Snarl doesn't KO, and I get a little bit of extra damage. I am debuffed, so I'm going to look to switch out. In the back is Drapion, and this is really not ideal considering I have Malamar. This is the closest to a normal team that I was given. So if I lose with this team, I really have no excuses because this team should be winning. XL Malamar is a very good Pokemon. I fire off that superpower. I'm now debuffed, which means this Aqua Tail does a ton of damage. In comes the Primeape, and I'm going to fire off this superpower. My immediate issue is that does not KO, but it will put it into Blast Burn range. If my opponent just shields here, I don't really see a win con. My only hope is they let it go, which they do, and I can somehow survive all of the Poison Stings. This is going to be very close. This Incineroar is a decent rank. It's a shiny as well. Come on, shiny Incineroar gets to the move. 1 HP. Incineroar will not be denied. Blast burning the Shadow Drapion. And that is a good game. I've got one bonus match for y'all with possibly the worst single created viewer team, Stakataka, Reveroom, and Noivern. I'm going to save switch the Reveroom. Registeel fires off the Zap Cannon. They do get a debuff here. Opponent is going to switch into a Gastrodon. I don't get the overheat. I have no way to beat the Registeel, so I'm going to immediately concede the match. All in all, I was going to say I had a lot of fun with these teams, but in reality, it was more so the very few wins I was able to get were incredibly fun. There was a lot of losses. There was a tremendous amount of losses. My viewers did really know how to create the most cursed Ultra League teams. So you could pat yourselves on the back. Very well done. You are honestly probably some of the best at creating cursed Go Battle League teams that I know. If I had to pick a favorite team from today, that's honestly a bit of a tough one. If I had to pick my favorite win, I think it may be the first one, where Ceruledge double Psychic led into a Golurk, and by getting shields down, I was able to flip the script and win the game with Ceruledge. So big thank you to everyone who did end up submitting teams, as even though the teams did cause great misery, well, the vast majority of them did, overall it was a very fun experiment. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments if you guys want me to try this kind of a challenge in a different league. Obviously, it's Ultra League now, but it could be Great League in the future. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.